Good afternoon, Bitcoin and Metaplanet world. My name is Aiden Gillespie, and I just sold everything. Well, not everything, but I did sell some stocks to be able to buy more Metaplanet. Here's why I did it. Just a quick disclaimer. None of this information is financial advice. These are simply my own beliefs and my own strategy based on my own beliefs here. Without further ado, let's get started. So, the first piece of information I want to get into today is that Metaplanet had no buy announcement on Monday. If you don't already know, Metaplanet typically makes Bitcoin buy announcements on Mondays. However, they did not have a buy announcement this past Monday. Here's why I'm not concerned. So we can see that this, based on this chart, that this has happened in the past. Back in December and then also January and February. Metaplanet was hardly buying any Bitcoin and had very long periods of time before buying Bitcoin because they were transitioning towards their 555 plans. So we have seen Metaplanet times where Metaplanet hasn't been buying Bitcoin much in the past. Also, we can take another look at a very similar situation that recently happened with Metaplanet, that happened back in April. And as we can see right here where my mouse is hovering around, right in that area, that was back in April. The MNAV was trading right around where it's trading at today. And as you can see, they were not buying much Bitcoin at this point here. They were buying very slowly. But guess what happened right after that? Boom! Look at how much Bitcoin they started buying right after their MNAV was really low and they were buying Bitcoin very, very slowly. Look at what happened to how much faster they immediately started accumulating more Bitcoin. That is part of the reason why I am extremely bullish on Metaplanet for these next couple of months. And so looking at Metaplanet's history, we'll go back to that same price, same MNAV that they were trading into at April. It was very similar to where they are trading at right now. And basically, what happened then was they were buying Bitcoin more slowly because the MNAV was low. Once the MNAV increased just a little bit, they made significantly larger Bitcoin buys soon after that MNAV went up just a little bit there. So back in the month of April when the MNAV was super low, they only bought 954 Bitcoin. But then the month right after, they bought nearly 4,000 Bitcoin in 1 month between May 5th and June 2nd. So they bought over quadruple or about quadruple the amount of Bitcoin that they bought in April in the month right after that that slower Bitcoin accumulation happened. And we're seeing a very similar point that's coming across right now with Metaplanet's MNAV being lower here right now, and with Metaplanet having just held off this past Monday on buying Bitcoin. So I think there's a good possibility that we see something very similar to what happened back in April and then what happened back in May thereafter. And then here we'll go into why slow growth is good when MNAV is trading fairly low for a company. So remember that MNAV equals the market cap minus debt divided by the value of Bitcoin holdings for the company. The value of Bitcoin holdings can just be determined by the amount of Bitcoin the company owns times the trading price of Bitcoin. So when you're growing your Bitcoin, when the company grows their Bitcoin, it's going to increase this denominator here. It's going to increase the value of their Bitcoin holdings. So if you're increasing that denominator there, what's that going to do to the MNAV right over here? That's going to decrease that MNAV. So when MNAV is already low, decreasing it even farther with buying more Bitcoin is just going to be more dilutive. So what's the solution to this? Buy more Bitcoin and then sell more shares to be able to buy more Bitcoin when the MNAV is higher so that you can dilute shareholders more when the MNAV is higher rather than lowering that MNAV when it's already super low there. And this was their strategy back in April when MNAV was pretty low, trading right around where the MNAV is trading today. And that brought Metaplanet from around $2.50 per share back in April to their all-time high of $15 in May. Isn't that just insane? It's 7x in share price in about a month, when in April they were having record low, their MNAV was at a pretty much a record low at that point, to 7xing their share price in about a month. That's insane. That's part of the reason why I'm extremely bullish on Metaplanet for these next couple of months ahead. So my plan, sell everything, not really. That's an exaggeration. I'm going to keep my Bitcoin, but there are some stocks and different things I have just sold so that I'll be able to buy more Metaplanet. My models predict that Metaplanet will hit a share price of $32 to $40 on September 16th, followed by a potential price retrace. Again, this range could end up being a little bit higher, could be a little bit lower. And then this date, September 16th, could happen a little bit before then, could happen a little bit after then. But I'm fairly confident in somewhere around this range is what Metaplanet will trade at some point in the next couple of months here. And somewhere around September 16th is where I would expect them to hit that price point there. So considering that the last time this happened to Metaplanet, their share price hit a 7x before retracing, I'd say that this model is pretty realistic. This is just a like 4 to 5x. By the way, if you do want to see my video on how I calculated this share price and the models that I created to be able to calculate that share price, I will link that video down in the description here below so that you're able to check that video out as well. So yeah, I'd say my models are pretty realistic just based on what Metaplanet has done in the past. And then even if Metaplanet significantly underperforms my models, even if it just 2x's, which personally I would consider pretty bearish for Metaplanet to do, that's still an excellent rate of return. I will still be happy. So that's why personally I think selling some stocks right now that I don't think are going to do as well as Metaplanet will do in the next couple of months is a good idea, because I think Metaplanet is at a great price right now with huge potential. So this is just my personal plan. Again, none of this information is financial advice. These are simply my beliefs and what I plan on doing and what I have done to be able to accumulate more Metaplanet stock. With all that said, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, if you like the videos I've been putting out, please consider liking and subscribing to support the channel and to support my work.